of our wonderful circles, which, when it's 3D, it is called a cylinder. Why am I not? And okay, so this is really easy. Are you ready?
But you don't gotta figure this stuff out. It says right on the tin what it is.
Don't trust people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't
All right.
anymore.
Okay, are you ready? Because volume, the equation doesn't change. A long time ago, like 2 weeks ago, we talked about volume, right? And I gave you this really cool equation and said, remember this equation and it will get you through everything you do with volume. The volume is area times height. Everyone remember that? This is like the 4th time we've talked about volume being area times height, right? What is the area of a circle? What is the equation? Anybody? What is the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So volume of a cylinder then is pi r squared times the height. Or pi times r squared times height. Because volume is area times height. Does that make sense to everyone? If we know the area, we can find the volume. So we just did a whole bunch on area, right? Everybody should be very capable of finding area. How do we measure area? How do we label it? Squared, right? Units squared. How do we measure volume? How do we label it? Units cubed. Okay? Why? Because in area, we multiplied 2 things together, pi and r. And in volume, we multiplied 3 things together, pi, r, and height. That's why we know the difference between squared and cubed. Here is your example. What is our first step, Haley? Perfecto. We are going to find volume, so we take 3 times 3 because we're squaring the r, right? And our r is 3. So as Haley said, we take 3 times 3 and we get 9. Connie, what's our next step? Times pi, which is 3.14. So 9 times 3.14. Sam, what is our next step? Times what? 5 is 141.3. Evan, what is our last step? What should we do next? Is that our answer? Evan? What is that answer missing? Anybody? Kelsey? What? Kelsey, say it loud.
It's missing the units.
And what is that? What should we write?
Units.
Well, aren't we measuring in inches here?
Yeah. Inches squared.
Cubed. So it's 141.3 inches cubed.
So you've dropped the 2 when you change it to cubed?
Why would we drop the 2? We're not dropping a 2. We never had a 2.
The squared. You're dropping the squared and replacing it with the cube.
Well, yeah, because volume is cubed, yeah. All right, example number 2. Max, what's our first step? D.
We have to cut 13 in half. And then
Okay, so what are we taking? 13 times 0.5?
Yeah.
Does that sound good? Okay. Cameron, what's our next step?
You go 13 and then 6.5 times 6.5.
And the reason I have this here is because our next step really should to make sure everything's in what? The same measurement, which would be feet, right? So if we had a yard, we know we have 3 feet. The reason I make you do that right away is so that when you get down to the multiplying by a height, you don't multiply it by 1. Because it's not 1. Okay? And then Cameron's step, 6.5 times 6.5 gives us 42.25. Caitlin, next step.
Times of 4.25 by
By what?
3 feet.
No.
Oh, the 3.14.
Perfect. By pi, right? So 42.25 times 3.14 is 132.665. Dustin, next step. What? No. We're trying to find the volume here. Look at your equation and tell me what you multiply together. The equation on your piece of paper, Dustin. What's the last thing that needs to be multiplied to this? What? 13? No. So, again, we use r squared times pi times what? Who can help? Times height. So, have we done r squared? It's right here, right? Have we done pi? It's right here, right? So, what is our last thing to be multiplied together, Dustin? Huh? Really? What is our height, Kelly? 3, because if we do 1, we're doing yards, and we cannot multiply feet and yards together. You have to make it 3. So then you're going to take 132.665 times 3, and we label it feet cubed. So it should be 397.995 feet cubed. There's no rounding. That is the answer. Got it?
Oh. No dropping either.
No dropping. Okay. Questions on volume of a cylinder. What is our volume equation always and every day? Evan. Area times what? Area times what? Perfect. And how do we label it, KDB? What? Cubed. Units cubed. Max, can we multiply unlike units together?
No.
No. Okay? Questions on that before I get to the next little thing? Anybody? Okay, remember Mrs. Miller talked about her oopsies? Remember I said I had a big oopsie? Everyone remember me talking about Mrs. Miller made an oopsie? Okay, I made an oopsie when I asked you to simplify from feet to yards or inches to feet. When they are cubed or squared, it takes more to get to the next level. So, if you are simplifying this 397.99 feet cubed, if you're simplifying that, you would not divide that by 3. You would divide it by 3 cubed, which is 27 feet. So for 1 cubic yard, right here, for 1 cubic yard, there are 27 feet. Okay? So this would be divided by 27, and I come up with 14.74 yards cubed.
So it would be 27 cubic feet in 1 cubic yard. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So when you have feet cubed, you have to divide that by 27. Now if you had feet squared, you would divide it by 9. Because there are 3 times 3, right? Because 3 squared equals 9. That's why 3 to the cubed equals 27. Does everyone understand where this is going? I'm not asking you to simplify your answers on this one, but so that you understand, because Evan has been simplifying because he's heard me pound it into his head to simplify, but I wanted to make it very clear that I made an oopsie. I screwed it up.
I pointed that out.
And I am going back and saying Mrs. Miller made the oopsie. You see how you do that? You screw something up and you go back and you redo it. Some of you choose not to do that very often in this class. It's okay to screw up.
Why did you screw up?
Because I haven't used this kind of math in a very long time. Like, probably since I was a freshman in high school.
In my head.
What?
I counted it in my head. Now,
Well, no, if I'm going from feet to yards, I'm still at 3 to 1. But it's when it all of a sudden becomes cubed and squared, it changes. Because 1 cubic yard is equal to 27 feet cubed. Write it down right now so you don't forget. But I'm not asking you to simplify, but if you choose to, you need to simplify correctly. You can't make Mrs. Miller's oopsie anymore because Mrs. Miller has corrected her oopsie.
why?
Why did I correct my oopsie?
Why did you?
Evan!
And
Because Mrs. Miller hasn't done this kind of math in a very long time. And do you know what Mrs. Miller had to do? She had to go ask someone to explain how to do this to her. Because I can make mistakes too, but I fix my mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? It's okay to screw up. That's why I let you do redos in this class. I don't give you a one-chance shot and say, that's it, you're done. Everyone is.
everyone's human.
That's why that test you just got back, you can come in and retake it whenever you feel like retaking it. And get a higher grade. Some of you will, some of you won't. Some of you will understand that you need to redo what you screwed up, like Mrs. Miller's oopsie. Some of you could care less. Anytime you want to come in and retake the test, you get to come in and retake the test.
Test?
Yeah.
What the heck? I didn't know that.
Redo your syllabus I handed you.
Yeah, that one.
That would help, huh? Oh, wow. Always goes back to reading. It's amazing. Questions?